report on the 29th. We start practice the next day. It's been good. It's a lot easier for newcomers when there's leaders in the building that show them the way and demand that out of them. That's been a piece that hasn't been complete for us since I've been in Nebraska, and really been impressed with the leadership. That gets the freshmen and newcomers pointed in the right direction faster, and I think it'll help their development come along faster. Well, Tyreek was looking to do something else. Has had some success at the school he was at before. It was a position where we thought we could use another hand. I think his upside is huge. He's friends with Deontay, who's here, and they went to the same high school and have known each other a long time, so we knew a lot about him as a person from Deontay. We thought it was the right fit.
Coach, welcome to Indianapolis. What's it like to have Trev Alberts there as the AD? Special, obviously, the relationship you've had with him for a long time. Great ADs, great coaches, but how special is that for you to have somebody that you've known so long in that?
I'm so glad we landed where we landed. Again, I trust Ted and Ronnie's judgment on almost everything that they do. Those guys are great leaders for the university system and for the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Trev's a guy I've known a long time. Like I mentioned before, we've already met 4 times, once before he even took the job. I think our understanding of the things that can still be improved with the athletic department are similar. I've known him a long time. I can't wait to work with him. I'm glad we got a Nebraska guy in the building and somebody that understands all the great things about Nebraska and some of the challenges. So I could tell right away he and I are going to be on the same page with a lot of things, and looking forward to spending time with him. He wanted to spend some extra time here, so he drove here. I think he's crazy. We got on a flight this morning and landed, and that was a lot easier. But I think it just shows the alignment that I look forward to having with him. Like I said, we're kind of cut from the same cloth and have a lot of the same experiences, a lot of the same ideas. And that's been apparent to me right away in my discussions with him. So I can't wait to work with him and do everything we can to make the University of Nebraska and the athletic department and the football team better and make it accomplish the things that we want it to accomplish. There's 1,000 things that I could be freed up to do. I've spent a lot of my time and more time than I'd want to in 3 years dealing with things that didn't have anything to do with football. And I won't say more than that, but there's a lot in the football department that needed to be fixed and things that still need to be fixed. I think there's some things in the athletic department in general that have changed over time and that I would guess Trev thinks still needs to be fixed or changed, however you want to look at it. I've spent more of my time on some of those things than I would have liked, and having somebody like Trev alongside me that thinks the same way is going to help me be able to focus on the football team. Well, it's exciting. We're going to be the first game going, which is great. A lot of the eyes around the country will be on that game. Gives our kids a chance to get to work earlier. Talking about dealing with other things. I can't wait to just get to football. Our players are excited about it. It's a big game for us. I think our kids understand that we feel like that's the biggest game of the year. And I've known Brett a long time. We've gotten along well. Seen him on the road recruiting and other things with former jobs. He's a Big Ten guy. Glad he's back in the league. I think we're in a time in college football where there's a lot of things up in the air. I think when the dust settles, there's going to be a lot of things about our sport that are different. I don't have any comment on teams going from one league or another, but I think a lot of the things that are happening with the rules in college football are going to shake things up, and I wouldn't be surprised if many things change, possibly even realignments and things of that nature. But we can't focus on that. All we need to do is focus on our football team and try to navigate the waters when the dust all settles. Nebraska's in a great spot. We're one of the blue bloods of college football. The fan support is really unmatched in the country, in my opinion. The financial support is unmatched. They've done a good job, I know, with our department in making sure that we're sustainable even through a tough year last year. If there is a carousel that starts, I feel confident that Nebraska will wind up in a good place. Yeah, last year was a challenge on everybody. I've said this before. I don't think it was a good year to have a young team. We missed a lot of development opportunities with our young team, from missing spring ball to fall camp, being changed to not being around them in the summer, to not having non-conference games. So a lot of our players were playing some of their first meaningful snaps at Ohio State right away, game one. That's tough. Would have been great to have more time with those guys to get them more prepared and get them more reps, get them more ready. Glad things are back to normal. Looking forward to not only starting non-conference, but getting a conference game under our belt to begin with, and then hitting non-conference. And with a young team, we need all the experience we can get. We haven't established everything completely yet, and we're kind of waiting to hear how we're going to need to handle that based on Big Ten protocol. We're prepared, I think, to handle it if the conference tells us it's going to be handled on each campus. I know I've had conversations with that, and conversations are going on above my head about ways to handle things like that. We are doing the best we can to educate our guys about vaccination, trying to let them understand that it's safe. Vaccination gives us the best chance to have a football season that's uninterrupted. So a lot of those conversations still need to be had, and we're kind of waiting to see if we're going to be in charge of our own administration of COVID protocols, or if there's protocols that we're going to need to follow. But wherever that lands, I think we're ready. I mentioned in the big press conference, really from the start of spring practice and really winter conditioning, we've talked to our team about almost exactly the same thing: controlling the things we can control and fixing some of the things that have hurt us in the first 3 years. And a lot of those things were self-inflicted wounds. We've made mistakes where we can't make mistakes, made turnovers where we can't have turnovers. Our special teams play hasn't been to the level that we need to win at a consistent basis. So we're always going to talk to our kids about three things, and that's being physical, playing well on special teams, and winning the turnover battle. sometimes you struggle with those things when you have a young team, and I think experience is going to help. But the players are really locked into those things, and we need to be a team that when another team plays us, we're going to be tough and physical, and we're not going to beat ourselves, and that's going to make us hard to beat and hopefully give us a chance in closer games. I don't read anything. Praise and blame are all the same. They're both imposters. When things are going well, you can get a lot of praise, and usually that's not all true. And blame's the same way. Learned a long time ago not to read anything, and I'm never going to change from that. Excuse me? There you go. Yeah, I think I've stated publicly a few times I'm in favor of expansion. I have my opinions, but I don't think they matter on how expansion should go. I'm glad that they're looking into it. However that works out, we want to be a part of it someday. I think it's really important the AD and the football coach are on the same page. I think it's important that the AD and the men's basketball coach and the women's basketball coach and the baseball coach are on the same page. We think the same way. I can tell that right away from my conversations with Trev. We both share a passion for the state of Nebraska and its people and the university and the football program. But it's obvious to me that Trev's going to be there and be supportive and be working toward the same goals that we're looking to work toward. When I take issues to the AD, if he disagrees with me, I want to hear it. If we agree on something that we need to do, then I need help getting it done, and some of those things I can't always do. Pretty obvious to me in just a few conversations, probably 4 conversations with Trev, that we're going to be working toward the same goals, and that makes my job easier. I don't know if I want to get into details. There's a lot of things changing in college football right now. Sometimes there's real simple things that I need an answer to. Sometimes there's big picture things that I think we need to be thinking ahead on to make sure that we're going to land in the right place. And with all the landscape changing with transfer portal and NIL, those are some of the big picture things that I think we need to be ahead on. There's other big picture things, and then there's just minute details that we're in a competitive business, Sam, and we need to move and move quick, even with some of those small things. And it's going to be great to have a guy there that we can get an answer from quickly. Yeah, we have a couple guys that are looking at the transfer portal, and we get reports on it every day. And if there's someone of interest, then that gets passed along to assistant coaches to evaluate, and then potentially up to me, and then legwork's done. We have a good process in place for that. Yeah, we had kind of an inside angle with Tyreek because of Deontay. Those guys grew up together, played Little League together, listening to them talk to one another. So sometimes there's kids that you've recruited before, somebody on your team knows. That makes it a little bit easier. But you got to keep your eyes open and keep listening and try to find the right ones that fit your program, and then do as much research as you can to try to make sure you bring in the right person onto the team. They got a lot of talent and a good coaching staff. Yeah, overall, I love the pieces that we added. Some of the pieces were added because we had needs in certain areas, needed some more depth in certain areas. Others were just opportunity. Transfer portal isn't just going to help us from a scholarship athlete approach. Nebraska's always been known for its walk-on program, and we put a lot of emphasis on our walk-on program, and a few of the ones we've gotten have left other places to walk on at Nebraska. I think we're in the mid-20s now with number of walk-ons that I've had at Nebraska that we put on scholarship in 3.5 years. I imagine that number is going to grow, and some of the additions we made are walk-ons that are going to be given every chance that scholarship players are given. There'll be a few tweaks, but for the most part, we're the same number of days out from game one as you would be if you were playing on week one. So we'll approach it the same way. It's a little more important because it's a conference game and it's a divisional game. So we might spend a little more time on game one than we normally would just going through fall camp. That game's vital to us, and I'm sure it is to them. So we'll give that a lot of attention, but for the most part, camp will look the same. I have absolutely no comment on Texas and Oklahoma or another league. Like I said before, I think there's a lot of dust flying around right now, and we're all going to have to wait and see where the dust settles at the end of the day. If that leads to realignment, I feel great about the position that Nebraska's in to make sure that we're in good position to be part of a league. We're really happy with where we are right now. Looking forward to competing in the Big Ten. I don't really want to speculate on if anything changes. I'm just glad we have an opportunity to play in the league we're in. Yeah, Sean, we don't really scrimmage and go live tackle to the ground very often. You're always balancing getting a team ready with keeping them healthy. So really the changes aren't going to affect our practice very much. The one way it is going to affect us is, we have a big roster, and there's 5 days of acclimatization now. So we'll hit the Illinois week, and the kids that aren't involved in our 110 will get a chance to come back and join the team. But it's going to take them 5 days to be able to put pads on and really practice. So that's kind of the big change for us is the first game week is going to be primarily the kids that we had in the 110, and everybody else is really going to be a part of it after that. Yeah, we're really looking forward to the continued development of Logan and Harburg. Both of them have a ton of talent. Neither one of them have a ton of experience yet. So we need to try to give them that experience in fall camp as much as we can. I've been really pleased with their progress, particularly through spring ball. Adrian's obviously going to be our guy. We got to find out who the next guy up is, and that may be decided after this fall camp. It may change after this fall camp, but we're going to spend a lot of time with those two to make sure that they're game ready and as prepared as they can be if they get their chance. I don't think any team responds well to a loss. The one thing we need is momentum right now. There's so many good things that are happening in our program. The team's improved so much. The talent's improved so much. The culture and attitudes have improved so much. These kids deserve a little wind under their wings. And that first game is going to be an opportunity for us against a Big Ten opponent. So that really is a big game. But any one game isn't going to catapult us or sink us. So we're going to put a lot of emphasis on that game, and we want to do the best we can to try to be successful in that game. but it's not make or break either. NIL? Oh, NIL is definitely going to affect recruiting. A lot of these young men that we're coaching could really use the help. They come from situations where they don't have as much as some other people. If there's two schools that are approximately the same with any recruit and one school is able to provide more for them than another school, it's an advantage. That's why I feel great about our position with NIL, because of the fan interest and really passion for Nebraska football. I think we're kind of uniquely positioned to try to take advantage of it, and we'll do our best to do that.
Hey, Coach, is still at the same timeline to return, and you can rely on paper, especially early. Do you feel confident?
Yeah, our running back spot is not a question mark. That's the wrong way to put it, but we got a lot of talented kids that are going to be competing for that, and I want to see it be a cutthroat competition. Marquise has been training with the team, not quite full speed yet, but definitely putting work in. Expect him to be close to 100% by the time we start fall camp. He might be on a pitch count early, but he'll be ready to go. And then we got a bunch of young guys behind him that I'm really excited about. So those guys are going to have to take advantage of every carry, and we'll have to figure out the top guy and the top number 2 guy and figure out which guys are going to be the main ball carriers for us. Yeah, there's definitely hope for Thomas. His injury was early enough that I can see him getting back. All these kids are young and they heal fast, a lot faster than old guys like us heal. So got really high hopes for Thomas. We'll see on Will. Will's been such a good teammate and important part of what we're doing, and it was heartbreaking to see that happen, especially since he came back for an extra year. We'll see where it lands. And I don't really want to comment more than that right now.
Scott, how's the wide receiver room coming along with the addition of Samari? Is he an impactful player that can get out there right away and make an impact for your team? Because he is a one-year eligibility left.
That's right. I'm really excited about the wide receiver room. We probably have less returning production than we've had in a long time, but I'll also say I think it's the most talented group we've had by a long shot as a whole in the receiver room. Omar, we're looking forward to seeing what he can do. He's been really locked in with the team this summer and doing all the right things, and when he's out there, he looks great. So excited about him. I think Samari is an immediate impact guy. He's looked great in workouts, had a great spring ball. He's a guy who's had a lot of production, just not in Nebraska, and expecting him to make a big impact for us. Yeah, obviously, Samari's strength's going to be as a wide receiver. He's a bigger guy. He's going to give us a bigger target over the middle, give us more speed down the middle of the field. He really has a feel for the game and is crafty to find holes in zones and figure out how to open himself up. Has a really big catch radius. I think the bigger body is going to help him block outside linebackers on run plays. So most of the stuff we're doing in the offense right now, I think the assets that he has are going to make us better. Obviously, the number one thing he's going to do is probably not come back into the backfield and carry the ball. But we have other guys that can do that, and I think having him in the slot will make us a better team. Oh, no. No, I'm really happy with Coach Lubick and the rest of the offensive staff and the scheme. We need to execute it better. We need to coach it better. We need to make fewer mistakes. But I don't believe our problems have been scheme problems. I've said this, I want to be day by day better every single day. I think we've done that. If you do that, the results are going to inevitably come. I want a tough team that's going to play physical and not beat itself, play well on special teams, take care of the ball, and fight. And I think that's what Nebraska people want too. We're picked where we deserve to be. When we've earned it, we should be picked higher than that. That being said, if predictions were right, we wouldn't even have to play the games. My second year, I think we were picked first for no good reason. I like where we're at, and if that puts a chip on our kids' shoulders, then that's a good thing. Yeah, we've done some option things in this offense going back all the way to my first year at Oregon in 2009. There's definitely an element of that in the offense, and we'll continue to play around with that. No, I think it's a tight gap. I got a ton of respect for those teams, the job that Pat did last year, the consistency of the Iowa program, the years that Wisconsin's had. Those coaches have been there a long time, got their cultures established, been able to recruit the players to their culture, to their system, start training them from the time they were freshmen. They're established. And, that being said, we played some really close games with those guys and been really close. And in most of those games, it's been a mistake here or a mistake there that's cost us. One thing about this league, you can't do that. There's fewer plays per game in this league. There's fewer opportunities. You got to be efficient, and you got to be a smart and tough football team. And getting a little better at those things will give us a better chance.
How would you characterize the gap between Ohio State and how would you describe it?
Well, they were clearly the best team in the league last year. Just my opinion, I thought the team they had the year before was even better than last year. So they're one of the elite teams in college football, and I would say everybody else is chasing them. I don't know if our recruiting philosophy's changed. We knew right away we need to be bigger and more physical and more athletic and faster. We do our best to recruit those types of kids. We got to make sure we recruit the types of kids that are going to flourish in Lincoln and in the state of Nebraska too. For the most part, we've done a good job with that. We made a few mistakes and kids that aren't in the program anymore. But I've been pleased with the work our staff's done. There's no doubt we have more talent in the building right now by far than we've had since I've been at Nebraska. So it's our job as coaches to get them ready. I'll give you one. Nebraska's always been an innovator. Way before I even played in Nebraska, Nebraska was at the cutting edge of strength and conditioning, was at the cutting edge of nutrition, academic support, life skills, helping guys get jobs after football, working in the community. There's ways right now that we can be innovative again. I need to be on the same page with administration that's making some of those big picture decisions. Otherwise, I can have as many good ideas for some of those things as possible, and we can't get anything done. And being aligned with Trev is going to help us hopefully be out in front of some of these issues.
Where's the roster made the most gains? Where do you feel most?
Yeah, that's tough question, Sip. I think we're better almost everywhere. But we got to go out and show it and earn it. I mentioned on the podium the offensive line. I love this core group of offensive linemen and their attitude. I'm not going to say that. Sorry. You know, it's interesting that that group, for the most part, is young. You know, we've got Sichterman and Bando and some guys that have been around for a while, Hickson. But the core group of guys with Corcoran and Benhart and Juergens and Piper, we're still young there, but we're young and experienced there. And I think that's a group that can make the former Pipeline guys proud. I think they have the right kind of demeanor and the right skill set. Receiver's another one. We don't have a lot of returning production, but again, I think it's a talented group, and looking forward to see them molded. Feel great about our defensive backfield coming back. Cam Taylor-Britt and Deontay and Markel and a lot of young guys. Don't want to mention them all, but a lot of young guys. And I think overall as a team, our depth's gotten better, which should help on offense, defense, and special teams. So there's been improvements, but none of that matters. We got to go out and play well. And I think this group's locked in on that.
Hey, Scott, how excited were you to hear Ben was going to go ahead and come back from additional senior season? When he said, is that some weight on his shoulder at that position?
Definitely. I feel great about our depth on the D-line, too. I go out and watch a little bit of the summer workouts, and from Ben Stilley to Casey Rogers to Ty Robinson to, and I keep going on down the line. Damian Daniels, definitely. We got good players there, we got depth there, and we got good kids there. And his addition to the team with him staying is a big deal for us, and really all those super seniors. It says a lot about how they feel about Nebraska and Lincoln and our football program that they would come back and play another year with us. So Stilley and JoJo and Markel and Deontay and Will Honus. I know Colin Miller would have been back for another year too if he hadn't had an injury last year. So we got great relationships with those guys, and I want to go to battle with them, and they wanted to go battle with us. Yeah, both kids have been really good for us. I think Oliver's got a chance to play a huge role at receiver. Had a really good spring for us, played quite a bit last year. When we did testing this winter, he was one of the best athletes on our football team. That's really started to transfer over to the football field, so we're excited about him. Ezra's going to be in the mix too. So both kids have been good additions, and both have been really good kids in our program. No, Omar's dealt with some off-the-field things that I haven't talked about, and really I think all Omar needs is consistency. His talent and God-given ability will take care of the rest of it. I'm really happy with where he is right now.
Damian Daniels, with him being a Navy SEALs guy, is he emerging as a starter and as a leader in his position?
Well, Damian Jackson's a Navy SEAL. Damian Daniels is a Special Forces eater. And going to be a really good D lineman for us. Damian Jackson's an unbelievable leader. You wouldn't have accomplished what he accomplished in life without having something special about you. And I think his presence has been a big improvement for us. He makes everybody around him better. He holds people accountable. We're lucky to have him, and I don't doubt that he'll find a way to get on the football field. Yeah, I was as surprised as anyone else. I can't thank Bill Moose enough. A lot of the things that we've talked about indirectly that I think needed to be improved in the athletic department. Bill made some hard decisions and really took us quite a way down the road to operating and doing things the way that we need to win. I think Trev's inherited a athletic department that's better because Bill was here, and I'm grateful to Bill. I'll always be friends with Bill. I'm also really excited that Trev Alberts is here. Can you guys hear me? Because I can't hear a dang thing. honestly, I didn't hear one word there. Yeah, part of being better on special teams, I think, is getting a little better performance from our specialists. Another part is buy-in from our student athletes that are going to be on coverage units. I want that to be competitive. We really emphasized that this spring, and I saw a lot of improvement. Really glad that Mike Dawson is going to be leading the charge there. He's been a special teams coordinator in a lot of places. I like what we're doing on those teams. Special teams can win you games. Unfortunately, the last few years, special teams has lost us a few games or made a couple wins a lot harder than they should have been. And I think the players now are bought into how important that is and excited to make sure that those improvements are made. I think the players are as confident as they've been since I've been in Nebraska, and a lot closer as a unit than they've been since I've been in Nebraska.
I mean, we got bad. I like getting him better. He gets to be better. He's just real crafty.
There's been a lot of them. Our leadership's better than it's been, Sam. A lot of the super seniors that came back that we've talked about have been leading the charge there. Damian Jackson's been leading the charge there. Adrian, Austin Allen, Travis Vokalek, even new guys like Samari. You earn your confidence. You earn your confidence because you put in a lot of hard work and you believe in yourself. And then you gain even more confidence when you have success. That's the piece we still have to get. We got to have some success so our kids believe it even more. I told these guys there's not one game we're going to take the field this year where we don't have a chance to go out and be successful. And I know they believe that. Certainly some success will help them believe it even more.
I think he's super excited for I think he's a strong-minded guy.
I'm excited about our young tight ends, but I'll tell you, Austin Allen and Travis Vokalek, both I think have a career in football. I love where we are at that position and what those two are going to give us in the run game and in the passing game. Those two are going to be a key part of what we're doing on the football field, and they've both been great leaders for us as well.
I think they're both two talented guys.
What I appreciate about guys like Austin is he's been through the whole thing. He was recruited before I got here, even though we recruited him when I was at Central Florida. So I've known Austin since he was in high school. Aurora's not far from Wood River. Austin's seen a lot of different things, been through some struggles in his 3 years, and I think that gives him a determination to make sure that while he's in Nebraska, this thing goes the way that he wants it to. And he's pushing himself. He's pushing everybody else. He can want to be a leader, and that's great. He want to be a captain, and that's great. My guess is the team will vote him one as well because that's the kind of leadership that he's given us. Well, first of all, stand next to him, Sip. Both of them are two of you. They're both really skilled pass catchers. Both have become really good run blockers for us. We're always looking for complete players that can do anything that you ask somebody at that position to do in an offense. And both of those guys, we can leave on the field and call anything that we have. I'm not sure I'd trade my two tight ends for many around the country, if any. I got a ton of confidence in those two guys.
I think they're just really come from
it's been an interesting few years, particularly last year with the things going on. But even back to my first game that got canceled at Nebraska. in some ways, I think we've done a lot of the right things. In other ways, I think there were some things that we needed to get into the league to learn.
We got a duffel bag.
The game is a little different in this league than other leagues I've coached in, and I've talked about that a little. I'm used to playing in games where we'll get 95 snaps of offense a game. In this league, there's games where we get 60. Because of that, you got to be a lot more efficient with your snaps. Fast and frantic and wasting a play here and there is fine when you're explosive offense and you get 90 snaps. In this league, teams are going to keep the ball away from you. So there's not major adjustments that we need to make, but I think there's ways that we've learned that we can be smarter with what we're doing. And this is a good league. There's good coaches on every team. It's a deep league. You can win every week. You could lose every week. And usually there's a small margin of error. And those are some of the details that I think we're really addressing this offseason. Yeah, it's just we haven't written a bunch of rules, Sean. I just don't want it to be a distraction. So we're trying to give guys an opportunity to have it be organized as well as we can. I need to protect them as well. I'm hearing stories from other universities, particularly in another sport, where some kids are approached by agents, people trying to get them to do deals. There could be a lot of distractions. There could be the wrong people talking to our kids. So hopefully we can find a way to protect them to some degree while allowing them to take advantage of NIL. Certainly anything that's said outside the building, I want them to treat it as if it's a press conference. They're always going to be representing the University of Nebraska. So we're going to have some simple rules about that. Mostly, we're going to try to help them by protecting them and make sure that they're being steered in the right direction by whoever's helping them take advantage of NIL.
Will there be any ramifications for guys getting playing times if they falter on any name, image, or likeness stuff, or any legal type?
I'm not allowed to have anything to do with the deals guys get on NIL. I don't want anything to do with that. I want to coach a team. And whatever happens away from football, I hope our guys can capitalize on NIL. When they're in the building, I'm their coach, and that's the way I want to keep it.
He makes plays, he has a strong arm, he knows the offense. I think we can't do better.
No, I don't pay a lot of attention to that. You have to fill me in.
I think he can play both. His ball skills, I know, he has great ball skills. He knows how to high point the ball. He just has to learn the little nuances of receiver.
I don't know. If he's making close to $1 million, good for him. That's a lot of pressure on a young man.
He can do whatever he puts his mind to. He's a special type of athlete. He jump out the gym. He works hard. I would say two people.
Yeah, we've talked to him about it. He's a really talented kid. He has as good an arm as there is in our league. Certainly one of the better athletes on our team and one of the better athletes at quarterback probably in the country. He needs to be able to capitalize on all those God-given talents, and being able to run the football and be fast is one of them. I think some of that's probably intentional, and some of it's probably just he's not that he hadn't worked hard before, but he's really kicked it into gear this offseason, and I've been thrilled with the effort that he's put in. Like I said, I think he's in a really good place. He's kind of weathered the highs and lows of the bright spotlight of being the quarterback in Nebraska. I think he's comfortable in his own skin and with who he is, and I think he's confident, and I'm looking forward to working with him.
Both of them guys fit in the room.
I think he's starting off in the right place right now, and I think he has a great opportunity to go earn any accolades and attention that he can get, and I think he can do it. I don't know. If somebody gave me $750,000, I'd feel like I needed to perform pretty well, particularly when you're 19 years old. I think it's great for student athletes that are going to be able to capitalize on this. There's going to be a million problems that come along with it that people aren't expecting, and pressure reform might be one of them. There's going to be a lot of other ones that we've talked through to try to anticipate issues that could come up with our student athletes. But anytime we're getting away from the purity of just college sports and cheerleaders and alumni and rah-rah, and the game is changing. And I think in a lot of ways those are going to be good changes, but there's going to be some pitfalls too, and we'll try to help our players anticipate those. Yeah, there's a lot of players on our team that just physically look better than they did a year ago. If I had to pick one, I'm really excited to see Nick Henrich play football this year at middle linebacker. Kid that we had a lot of confidence in when we recruited him. Struggled through a few injuries early on, had a great spring. He and Kolarvik and Reimer are going to have to be our lead dogs at middle linebacker. Would have been nice to have Will Honus there with some experience, Colin Miller with some experience. Both those guys have bled and sweat for the program. Beyond those guys, we're looking for guys to step up. Anxious to see what Garrett Snodgrass and the rest of the guys can do to add depth to that position. But really looking forward to watching those middle linebackers play because of the improvements that I've seen in spring ball and off the field. Kolarvik's a good athlete, great kid, really smart, picked up our scheme fast, tested really well when we tested, again, to an elite level. So looking forward to it. And I know anytime a kid's played at a place like Northern Iowa where I coached and gets a chance at this level, he's already achieved a lot and probably has a chip on his shoulder to show that he can do it at this level. So we're going to give him an opportunity. It helps. The more athletic you are, the better. Jojo Doman looks great right now, and excited to have him continue his career. Can't wait to see what he can do. Guys like Javen Wright and others are backing him up. Isaac Gifford had a really good spring for us. We can definitely run better at linebacker right now than we have run before because of the athleticism of those guys. Yeah, the snap issue hopefully is taken care of. You got to remember with Cam, he was a tight end coming out of Beatrice, and I looked at him once during his freshman year and told him I thought he was an NFL center, and it took about 6 conversations with him to convince him, and we got him moved. He had a series of injuries. It's all still kind of new to him. Not anymore, though, and I know he has been working on that really hard. We've gotten him some technique improvement. Not only were the fumbles an issue, but just the inconsistency of the snaps affected the way our quarterbacks played. It's really hard to read somebody at the line of scrimmage if you're having to take your eye off that and reach up or down for a football, and it breaks the rhythm that the quarterback needs. So consistency there is going to be a huge improvement for us.
Inside and outside, real versatile. Like all Harrison Wallace. I seen that we was at where we live and everyone played basketball and things like that. He's like,
Yeah,
6'6". Like, I wish I
Deontay's special to me. Yeah, we recruited him early on.
stuff I've never seen.
He's had kind of a tough journey. He's one of the old guys now. When I first got him on campus, I couldn't talk to him much because he wouldn't say much. He's one of my favorite guys to be around now. Love seeing him and talking to him. He's a father now. He's a good father. He's a good person. He's a great player and a good teammate. I expect he would have been farther along in his career had he not gotten hurt game one a couple years ago, and we might not still have him. But I'm thrilled that he's back on the football team, and he's going to be a big part of our secondary and our team.
Having Ben back, what a difference it will make one of you guys on game day. You guys tried to generate your own energy last year. Obviously, the team had failed.
It means the world. And also, I graduated in spring.
Yeah, this might be a little controversial, but I've kind of said I thought home games last year were almost a disadvantage for us because we're so used to the sea of red and the fans and the energy, and it was almost depressing going out on the field with nobody in there. It almost drained our energy because it was always there and provided for us, and kids were used to that. We got the best fans in the country. I can't wait to see them again. I know they can't wait to be back. Hopefully we give them a lot to cheer about.
But, dude, I don't. My favorite fast food is
What?
lifetime free. Like,
Well, we're here in Indianapolis. If I could take their pass rushers, I'd probably be happy. You always want better at every position, but don't lead with that. Mike Dawson's done an unbelievable job with those guys. We got way more consistent play out of our defensive ends and outside linebackers than we had the first 2 years, and that group's improvement has been apparent. We got experience there now. Looking forward to seeing JoJo play and Garrett Nelson. Also, some other guys that have played sparingly. Fadarius Payne had a really good spring for us. So I think those guys are geared up to really surprise people. Again, I think Coach Doss has done an unbelievable job, and that was probably one of our Achilles heels, year one and year two. Those guys played really well last year, and I expect them to be even better this year.
that's not who the team is. That would have just.
Two more guys.
I don't think that would have solidified the enough to came here for a purpose. I just want to stay healthy and put my best foot forward and prove all the guys wrong, but also prove everybody who believes me right. The player I can be, the plays I can make. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, O-line's a good example, I think, of our improved depth. I mentioned some of the guys. There's others. Brant Banks is going to compete to start and play, and we're excited about him. Nuri's going to compete to start and play, along with Sichterman and Bando and Hickson and Juergens and Benhart and Corcoran and Piper. That group has really grown, and it's going to be competitive. I think one of the things that probably has held us back in the past is even our better players that were starting at times could coast because they weren't getting pushed every day. That group right there, they better come to play every day because there's somebody behind them that can play. And that kind of depth and competition is going to help us all over our team.
It's a factor, like, when you're playing in front of 170 people, 170 people, like, it's a different type of player, it's a different rush.
Day by day, we get better and better.
Fourth quarter, like, 2 minutes left.
Great. Thanks.